In the days of the American Revolution, the Founding Fathers used a single word to describe those who sided with the king against liberty: Tory. A Tory was a loyalist, someone who clung to the authority of the British Crown, even as that authority taxed, imprisoned, and brutalized the colonists. The Redcoats enforced the king's will with violence. They raided homes, confiscated property, and suppressed protest. To the Patriots, the Tory was not just a political opponent, he was a willing accomplice to tyranny. Fast forward to today, and we find a similar figure: the bootlicker. Where the Tory once pledged loyalty to the crown, the bootlicker pledges loyalty to authority, to the badge, to the state, to power itself, no matter how abusive it becomes. Throughout American history, we've seen this same alliance between power and blind obedience. From the slave patrols and black codes that hunted and terrorized freed men in the South, to the Prohibition era, when police raided homes and brutalized citizens over alcohol, to the COINTELPRO operations, where federal agents spied on and dismantled movements for peace, civil rights, and justice, and to the labor strikes, when police beat down workers who dared to demand fair pay and humane hours, just as the Redcoats once beat those who defied the king. And today, the same pattern remains. During protests, police stand armed against the very people they swore to protect, just as the Redcoats once lined the streets of Boston and New York. A standing army in the service of power, not the people. The Tory and the bootlicker are cut from the same cloth. They are the loyalists who enable abuse, who defend the indefensible and mock the suffering of others. They cheer when human beings are beaten, jailed, or silenced, believing that cruelty is justice and obedience is virtue. The Founding Fathers warned of this mindset. They knew that tyranny does not survive on power alone. It survives on loyalty. The Tories of yesterday and the bootlickers of today share one legacy. They both chose submission over courage. History remembers them not as patriots, but as enablers of oppression. Proof that tyranny is only possible when ordinary people bow to it willingly. In the years leading up to the Revolution, the colonies were alive with debate. Taverns, town halls, and meeting houses filled with voices calling for liberty. But there was one kind of person who found no welcome at the table: the Tory. To the Patriots, a Tory, like bootlickers today, was not merely a political rival. They were betrayers of freedom. A man who, when his neighbors demanded independence, answered with loyalty to the king. He was shamed, mocked, and driven from the social life of the colonies. At places like the Liberty Tree, patriots held demonstrations that burned in the public memory. Effigies of British officials, and of Tories themselves, hung from branches as a warning. Those who bow to tyranny will find no honor among free men. Even the Founding Fathers mocked them in print and speech. Benjamin Franklin called the Loyalists men without country. John Adams wrote that Toryism was built on cowardice and self-interest. And Thomas Paine, in The Crisis, scorned them as souls too weak to deserve liberty. When the Revolution was won, many Tories fled. They were not the king's soldiers, nor officers of the crown. They were ordinary citizens who chose obedience over principle. And history remembers them, not as martyrs, but as one of the most repugnant classes ever to live under the flag of freedom. Citizens who defended oppression with pride. And yet, centuries later, the Tory spirit lives on. We see it today in the modern bootlicker. Different uniforms, same allegiance. The bootlicker of today, like the Tory of yesterday, defends authority no matter how unjust, applauds the punishment of dissent, and mocks those who dare to speak truth to power. Both the Tory and the bootlicker share a single disease of spirit: the belief that obedience is safer than freedom. That loyalty to power is more honorable than loyalty to conscience. The founders knew better. They stood against those who worshipped authority, and they left behind a warning that tyranny will always find servants willing to kneel before it. The Tory then, the bootlicker now. The enemy of liberty never changes.